this Fox News alert. It's Thursday, the day the Speaker of the House normally holds a news conference. Paul Ryan is having his. Let's listen in and find out what's going on the floor of the House, where you know this Democratic sit-in has been underway.
Security spending. At the committee, Democrats offered in committee an amendment offering the gun measure they say they want. That amendment failed on a bipartisan basis. So just yesterday, the Democrats offered this gun measure they claim they want, and it failed on a bipartisan basis in committee. There was a vote. It was in the committee to regular order, and the vote failed. That's a fact they didn't want to talk about. Here's another one. If Democrats want to vote for a bill on the floor, there's a way to get one. It just takes 218 signatures on a petition, and then they can have a vote. It is that simple. That's how the House works. It's a well-known process. But they're not doing that. They are not trying to actually get this done through regular order. No, instead, they're staging protests. They're trying to get on TV. They are sending out fundraising solicitations, like this one. House Democrats on the House floor. Your contribution will go to the DCCC. $15. This one says, try giving us 25 bucks. But if you want, you can send us $50, $100, $250, $500, $1,000. Because look at what we're doing on the House floor. Send us money. If this is not a political stunt, then why are they trying to raise money off of this? Off of a tragedy. What they're called for failed in a committee in the House. The reason I call this as a stunt is because they know this isn't going anywhere. It already failed in the Senate. They may not like this fact, but this bill couldn't even get 50 votes in the United States Senate, let alone 60. Why is that? Why is it that this bill failed on a bipartisan basis in committee and this bill failed on a bipartisan basis in the Senate? Because in this country, we do not take away people's constitutional rights without due process. This is not just Republicans saying this. It's groups like the ACLU who are saying this. But more to the point, our focus needs to be on confronting radical extremism. Terrorism is the issue. Let me say it again. Terrorism is the issue. And defeating terrorism is our focus here in the House. So let me be really clear. We are not going to take away the constitutional rights of law-abiding Americans. And we're not going to allow publicity stunts to stop us from doing our job. That's why the House powered ahead last night to provide important resources in the fight against the Zika virus. One of our must-do items on our list this week was that we had to respond to the Zika virus. We know this is something that we have to get on top of. And in the face of this distraction, we passed a responsible bill that provides the level of funding that was in the Senate bill that received a big bipartisan vote with a mix of offsets that we in the House thought were very important. This is a good compromise. It meets an urgent need, and I urge the Senate to take it up and pass it. Now, Democrats can talk all they want. I'm really not sure what their plan or end game is here, but the bottom line is despite these distractions, we did our job. We did the people's business, and we will continue to do so. One more point I want to bring up. I want to say a word about the Supreme Court ruling that we just got that halts the president's executive amnesty. This is a win for the Constitution, it's a win for Congress, and it's a win in our fight to restore the separation of powers. Presidents don't write laws, Congress writes laws. This is a case that the House weighed in on because it's fundamental to our system of checks and balances. Congress, not the President, writes our laws. And today, the Supreme Court validated that very core, essential, fundamental principle.
Speaker Ryan, two-part question. What were your personal feelings when you were being screamed at and yelled, shame, could not have been comfortable, not even a year into your speakership?
Oh.
Secondly, you have a lot of spirited members within your own conference. Are you worried that this sets a precedent for the shoe being on the other foot, that this could happen now when anyone's in the minority party and wants to prove a point?
I do worry about the president here. I'm very worried about the president here. I have an obligation as the Speaker of the House to protect this institution. We are the oldest democracy in the world. We are the ballast of the world of free people. And so when we see our democracy descend in this way, it is not a good sign. It is not a good precedent. So, yes, I do worry. Look, I've been around. I've gotten look, I've done the Iowa State Fair, you know, the soapbox. I have done Wisconsin recalls. So that I am used to. But on the House floor, no. On the House floor, where we have rules, where we have order, where we have a system where democracy is supposed to work its way out in a deliberative, respectful way, no, I did not expect that, because I think what we did was we watched a publicity stunt, a fundraising stunt, descend an institution that many of us care a great deal about. So, yeah, I think it sets a very dangerous precedent. Manning.
Speaker Ryan, you pledged when you came in to run a more open House. Last night, the Zika bill passed without sufficient time to review it, according to your own rules. My question. The rules also on amendments for appropriation bills are much more structured now. And on this gun vote, you're not going to bring this forward for an amendment vote.
It already failed in committee.
On the floor. But aren't you essentially undermining your own promises for a more open?
Not in the least. What our members asked for is an open process, but a functioning process. What we learned that Democrats were not interested in advancing the process. They're interested in stopping the process. Our members want Congress to function. Our members want us to do the people's business and to do our jobs. And when the Democrats are trying to stop Congress from doing anything, that is not an open process. That's a no process. That's a halting process. To the point of last night, you think we were going to have a civilized debate about the Zika virus? You think they were interested in coming to the mic and debating Zika? Of course not. They were screaming and shouting over each other. So we were going to get our job done. And our job this week was to make sure that we were giving the authorities, the CDC, giving the vaccination, getting ourselves prepared for the Zika virus. We're going into summer. People are going to be grilling out on 4th of July the proper response, and that is why we did our job and passed this bill.